If you're looking for a true espresso shop on the trail, then you should check out this. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. This is the Outin, I think it's Outin, not Outlin, Nano, and it is a portable espresso maker. And I was intrigued by this because I have checked out espresso makers before, the little espresso makers that you pump with your hand, and they're great. But the drawback to those is that you're always having to heat up water in order to use them. And I was thinking about it, man, when I'm out and about, finding boiling hot water is not necessarily the easiest thing. If I'm on a campsite or something, that could actually be a super big luxury. Maybe you have to make a fire and stuff. So now you would think if you're freezing to death and you need a fire, the espresso is probably the last thing you need. But I just thought, man, it would be awesome if a portable espresso maker had everything from start to finish. Just add water, just add one of the many Nespresso pods that you're carrying with you and create delicious, warm, soothing, delectable, rejuvenating espresso on the trail. And this one should do it. It says right there, have an Outlin day. I don't think any of us know what that really means. And I want to show you, this box is pretty cool. I feel like I'm getting some real outdoor gear here, man. The presentation is pretty awesome. We even get an instruction card on kind of like this velour, which is pretty nice. Kind of shows you what you should do. I mean, everything about this is pretty nicely packaged. Ooh, we also get an instruction card right here, but I feel like this should be and could be pretty straightforward. Oh, and we get a very big instruction booklet, which I don't feel like anyone ever really reads. And then we get your coffee shop in a box, just like that. Man, this thing is pretty cool. It does come in a variety of colors. I thought this army green kind of looked pretty cool and would disappear into the woods with you. It's got a little weight to it. I mean, it kind of reminds me of those old school thermoses that you would take to the work site. It's kind of the size, maybe a little bit smaller, but pour your chicken noodle soup out of this. This little band here is just marketing. Ah, man, the glue they use on this thing is pretty serious. Okay. That is off. Now it's naked, just like me, waist down. And it says Outlin right there. We have a power button, some indicator lights, LED lights right there. And then we have a charging port on the back here. And I want to show you here, a little silicone cover, USB-C charging port right there. So, should be compatible with pretty much all the charging cables that you already have. I also want to show you in the box, we get a little plastic cup here. It's actually a pretty big plastic cup. It's like an actual cup. Not just a cup, a thing, but a cup in terms of measurement. And then we get this little cup, and I think this is the cup that will allow you to use any coffee grounds that you want. So you're not just limited to Nespresso pods. I like them because you could grab a dozen of them, take them on your trip, and you don't have coffee grounds everywhere. You don't have to scoop it out. But you can see here that we have the little ejection hole there. The top here is where you would inject the water, and I think this just pulls off, and you can see a little stainless steel grate on the bottom there that would press that through. So you can fit pretty decent amount of coffee grounds in there, and that leads me to the next piece here, that you get this little measuring cup. So you would measure out a cup of this, put it in here, usually flip this over and compact those down. So nice cheaper way of making espressos, because you can buy a bunch of coffee grounds or the beans that you want. So that's pretty nice. And then we have USB-C to USB-C charging cable right there. You have to provide your own charging brick. She's a brick house. And then on the top here is the other little canister. So what we can do here is unscrew this, and the other canister would screw in place if you wanted to use your own coffee grounds. So the cap is going to be reused between the bring your own coffee grounds and the one that came installed in there, which is for the Nespresso pod. So what I want to show you here is that inside there we have the little stabby prongs that would stab the top piece here. So I think to use this, you would just push in one of the Nespresso pods here, and I could press it all the way down, puncture those right now, but I'm going to hold off here for just a second. And then you can see the little waffle pattern right there, which punctures just little tiny holes into this aluminum foil once it gets pressurized. So you put that in there and then tighten this down. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is just put on this cap, and I think you only need to do this the first time, but it's just a cleaning cycle essentially. So what I want to do is just grab an empty cup here, and I'm just going to pour some water into the top here. You know what's interesting about this? This is just pulls on and off. It has a O-ring there, and you can see stainless steel inside here. And I'm just going to fill it with some water. Might be hard to see there. I'm going to push this on. And then to go through the cleaning cycle, especially on the first time, but if you ever get any cloggage or something like that, you can do this. And I think now we just double click this. And it's just going to pushing water through, and that kind of cleans it out. It's a nice little cleanse. It's like prepping for a colonoscopy, but espresso style. All right, all the water is gone through there. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and I'm just going to go ahead and press this down. Just kind of puncture those. Just makes me feel better. I'm going to drop that in there, put the aluminum foil against the little waffle on the bottom, and now screw that all back into here. And you want to make sure it's tight because it's using pressure, that air pressure. All right, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the cup here as a stand for now. I'm going to take this off, and what I'm going to do is just put in room temperature water. Now I think this will make between 20 and 60 milliliters of espresso. I'm going to kind of fill it up 70-80% of the way there. Just like I said, room temperature water. Now this is the interesting part. If you do have hot water, you can put it in there, and what you need to do then is let it know that the water is already hot. So the way to do that is you would hold this button down for 5 seconds and then double click it, and then it will just kind of press the water through there knowing that it's hot water. But because the water I just put in there is room temperature only, and I want to get a clear glass here so that we can see what it does just for demonstration purposes, I am going to hold it down for 2 seconds until it beeps and then release it. All right, and now what it's going to do apparently is heat up that water. Now, if I were a little less patient here, I could probably balance this up on something, but it should beep again before it starts dispensing, I believe. So if you had it down on the little stand or using the cup as a stand or something like that and you heard a beep, then you could go and quick grab it. But I just want to see how long it takes to heat up, and if that's the case, I'm not pressing, I'm not heating up any water. This portable espresso machine is doing all the work. And I believe on a full battery, it will do up to 5 espressos with room temperature water or colder water. But if it's using hot water, I think it will do a lot more. So that's pretty nice. But like I said, it uses USB-C to charge, so I'm not worried about having that cord with me, even attaching it to a power bank to let it recharge. You can see it's got a second light blinking there, so I think it's getting that water up to temp here. It's probably been another minute or two. We've got that third light up there blinking, so I think it's supposed to be getting warm. You can't really feel the warmth. I mean, it feels like warmish, but I guess it's so insulated I can't really tell. So let's keep waiting. Oh, I also just put it down into the glass because I got lazy here. My hope is that when it beeps, it gives me enough time to lift it up and let it dispense or press that coffee out. We'll find out though. All right, ooh, we're on to the 4th light, so I think we're getting pretty close here. You know what? I can actually hear like a rolling boil, which is actually kind of funny. I can hear it kind of rumbling. So it must be getting that water pretty hot. This is pretty exciting. I'm stoked about this. I'm just sitting here waiting for that beep so that I can lift it back up. I can actually see it kind of pressing up this top a little bit. Oh, there it beeped. So when you get that beep, it's going to start pumping, and it was kind of pushing that top up a little bit, and I could see some bubbles just kind of coming out. So maybe I filled it up a little too aggressively, but you can see here it is dispensing that espresso, pressing it out. I like what we're getting here. Nice dark espresso, nice little layer of crema on the top here, and lots of steam. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's steam coming out of there, but that means it's pretty hot. And what I love about it is I didn't have to bust out a big Nespresso machine. I didn't have to sit around and boil water or anything like that. I mean, so many of them are a little deceptive because, oh yeah, the machine itself looks pretty small and pretty simple, but you still have to go through the process of getting that water hot. This, you don't. You just have to be patient and wait for the beep. Okay, so cleaned it out, and man, that is steaming, and that is what we get. Looks good, smells terrific. Obviously I wouldn't normally make it in a cup like this because it looks so small, but now you can add the stuff, you know, your frou-frou steamed frothed milk or something like that. Make your little panda bears in there. Let's try it. Oh man, it's hot. It's hot and delicious, which is actually what people say about me as well. Okay, let me say this. I can't say my mind is blown because I know We put a man on the moon. To make espresso in a device that looks like a thermos shouldn't really blow my mind. It shouldn't necessarily be life-changing or game-changing. But what I love about this is everything from heating the water to pressing out a delicious espresso is done right here in this little device. So this is truly something that I could take with me on the go, have in my hotel room. You don't have to have a hot plate or kind of run water through a Keurig machine without a K-cup in there. This makes espresso. Everything that you need, aside from the Nespresso pods right here, which you could just take a box like this along with you and have 20 of these cups of coffee ready to go. Just throw it in there, add a little water out of the faucet, and now you're making it. Honestly, you could have this at your desk. You could have this at school. You could have this in your office or the campsite, on your next road trip, on your commute. You could do this on the train downtown. It doesn't really matter. You have everything you need to make a hot, delicious cup of espresso. So if you want to live the Outin life, which I guess is now a thing, which just means that you're living a pretty comfortable, luxurious lifestyle out in the wilderness, well, then you should definitely pick this up. And I was surprised that it's not too terribly expensive. If you're going to have one portable espresso device, this is probably the one you should have, because most of the other ones, even the hand pump ones, are $50-$60. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but I thought in the $100 range. But because of all its capability, I think it's worth it. It's probably the one you should have. If you want to pick one up, I'll put a link to this in the description below. Peter Von Panda. Out.